Hello, welcome. Welcome. This is the global community for adults who are healing CPTSD. My name is Athena, and I will be facilitating our time together this evening. This YouTube channel is made possible by the Foundation for Post-Traumatic Healing and Complex Trauma Research, and just really want to pause and say thank you to each and every one of you who join us over in our community on our Circle app, and you help make videos like this possible just by being here and saving one of these videos to a playlist, or voting on thumbs up or thumbs down, or perhaps sharing this video, or even just being here live and being in the chat box and making comments, or leaving a comment after the fact, like when the video renders, and it's any day or time other than Monday, October 6th, 2025, 7 p.m. Eastern. Every little thing you do helps for this channel to be made possible and more sustainable. And especially to those who join us away from social media, over in Circle in our community, your presence means that I am able to continue making these videos. And I just really want to say thank you for that, because being a part of this community and just showing up in the ways that I do on a daily basis, it is truly one of the greatest joys of my life, besides being a mom and a nana. I really love being here. So thank you. And I want to say thank you very much to you, John Harvey, and to Ninja Taco. Ninja Taco can't be here with us tonight, but John Harvey and Ninja Taco are here week after week, month after month, year after year, for several years now. And they help make sure that our chat box is a safe enough space for everyone to join and have a weekly open discussion on whatever it is that we might be discussing here. This is a place where we all come and we check in with one another. We share what works and we share what doesn't work in our healing journey. And thank you also to Jeffrey Sherman, who's starting tonight, is now posting our message in the chat box every week, just letting everyone know that this YouTube channel is not crisis support, but we are, as a thank you to Jeffrey Sherman, because Jeffrey Sherman is here and offering to do this, we are listing crisis resources so that anyone here who arrives and perhaps might be in a not so great place and perhaps does need professional crisis support, we're going to have those resources available in the chat box. So thank you to you, Jeffrey Sherman, not only for being here tonight and offering to do that, but you have been here just weekly over the months and the years for several years, and I just am, and so many of you have. I just want to say thank you. So without further delay, I'm just going to say hello to everyone who's here, and then we're going to get started. We are continuing our guided read and open discussion, weekly discussion group on Pete Walker's most recent book, Holistically Treating Complex PTSD, a Six-Dimensional Approach. And we will be beginning on page 350 for those of you who are following along. So thank you. And let me just see here. Again, once again, hello to you, Jeffrey. Hello to you, Jen and Karen and Mary and Craig and Candida and Greg. Craig and Greg. And let me see, who else did I not get a chance to say hello to and warmly welcome by name? Hello to you, Kitty. And hello to anyone else that I may not have had an opportunity to say hello to individually by name. Thank you very much for being here. Let's see here. Jeffrey Sherman says, the link is not blue for me. I don't think the link is live. Maybe only mods can post a live link. I don't know. Oh, what a bummer. Oh, goodness. Well, the link is cptsdfoundation.org/crisis resources, and you can contact someone on that list. I'm not sure why it won't let you post a link. Perhaps there's a way, Jeffrey, if you don't mind, what we can do. I know this is an administrative issue, and here we are. We're just, we're rolling with the punches. We're live. We're live in our community right now. Hello, a very warm welcome. Very warm welcome to you, Peace Seeker. We're so glad you're here. Hello, Nadine. So, Jeffrey, perhaps someone on my team, his name is Mark, perhaps he can assign you a moderator role so that you can post a link. Let me just post a message really quick. Hello, Mark. We are live on YouTube, and I'm in the middle of getting ready to begin our weekly discussion group. And one of our community members, Jeffrey Sherman, has been with us for several years now and has offered to post crisis resources every week. And for some reason, the link won't work. I think Jeffrey Sherman needs to be added to the moderator role. I was wondering if you could assist him in becoming a moderator, like assigning him that role on YouTube. I'm going to give Jeffrey Sherman your email address, and then maybe you guys can connect offline, like when I'm not recording live. Thank you so much for receiving my message, and I hope it all works out. Okay, bye. All right, so Jeffrey Sherman, you're going to email support@cptsdfoundation.org, and his name is Mark, M-A-R-K. So, awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, Peace Seeker says, the program sites are very confusing. Oh no, I'm sorry. I know it does seem like they can be a little bit confusing, Peace Seeker. If you would like someone to walk you through, you can always email Mark at support@cptsdfoundation.org, or you can also, if you're already on Circle, you can DM Iris, or you can email Iris at iris@cptsdfoundation.org, and then someone can walk you through everything so that it's not as confusing. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. And without further delay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Page 350. And the title of this chapter is The Journey of Recovering. And again, we are on chapter 11 of Pete Walker's most recent book, Holistically Treating Complex PTSD, a Six-Dimensional Approach. At the top of page 350, a warm welcome to you, Mandy J and Lil J. We're so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. And here we go. Pete says, I cannot emphasize enough that recovery is not an all or none phenomenon. It is rather a gradual, back and forth progression that is often to the cadence of 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. Therapists greatly aid survivors by empathizing with them and supportively reminding them of their overall progress when they are in the backward step phase, which usually triggers them greatly and makes them forget the progress they have made. Progress in the forward phase is marked most noticeably by the decreasing frequency, intensity, and or duration of flashbacks. Moreover, marked and ongoing progress in any or all of the 6 dimensions of developmental trauma disorder or CPTSD, developmental arrests, also characterize this phase. At such times, developmental processes awaken and build and evolve survivors' natural intelligence in some or all of the 6D dimensions. However, let me emphasize here that it is not recommended or even possible to work on all 6 dimensions at the same time. It is possible to guide the recovery of combinations of 2 or 3 involving intelligence at once in any session or phase of ongoing sessions. This is especially true in developing relational intelligence, as is illustrated in chapters 2 through 4. Survivors' abject misery of self-alienation and alienation from others is an ongoing byproduct of arrested relational intelligence. I'm going to pause and I'm going to read that sentence one more time because someone besides me needs to hear it again. Bottom of page 350. We, survivors, our misery of self-alienation and alienation from others is an ongoing, agonizing byproduct of arrested relational intelligence. Raising relational intelligence typically depends on expanding emotional intelligence, as well as shrinking cognitive damage via verbally and emotionally fighting off the critic. This in turn creates psychic space to foster the growth of the healthy ego and its essential instincts of self-compassion and self-protection. Boom. So that one paragraph right there is so key, and I wish that there were not so many long, multiple, 6-syllable words in that paragraph, because if it were so, I could create that whole paragraph to memory and just recite it to myself every single day like a mantra. But I think what I might need to do is I might need to metabolize and synthesize that one paragraph and put it up on my bathroom mirror or on my refrigerator or in my car or near my desk, or just everywhere. And again, if it were not so laborious to speak, I would tattoo it somewhere that I could see it at all times. A warm welcome to you, AJ. We're so glad you're here. We warmly welcome you. So I'm going to read that paragraph one more time, and then we will move forward. Bottom of page 350, heading up to the top of page 351. And again, this is Pete Walker's most recent book, Holistically Treating Complex PTSD, a 6-dimensional approach. And Pete says, Survivors' abject misery of self-alienation and alienation from others is an agonizing byproduct of arrested relational intelligence. Raising relational intelligence typically depends on expanding emotional intelligence as well as shrinking cognitive damage via verbally and emotionally fighting off the critic. This in turn creates psychic space to foster the growth of the healthy ego and its essential instincts of self-compassion and self-protection. That right there, in a nutshell, that's the recipe. And it's 100% true. I can literally, while reading this, point to about 10 to 12 instances just in the past 1 month alone where I'm sitting with my emotions, holding space for them, talking back to my inner critic, becoming more familiar with my emotions, feeling comfortable, confident, competent, and capable to reach out to others so that I am not self-alienating and alienating myself from others. And then here I am fighting off the inner critic. I'm becoming more emotionally intelligent, holding space for, providing a warm witness for my emotions. And this creates capacity, or as Pete calls it, psychic space, to foster the growth of the healthy ego and its essential instincts of self-compassion and self-protection. When I do those things, when I do exactly what that paragraph tells me to do, my window of tolerance, if we're going to go full Peter Levine, Stephen Porges on this whole thing, like my window of tolerance, my capacity, my ability to stay emotionally regulated, fully present, and have access to everything I need to create pockets of safety and belonging and feelings of my self-worth, not being dependent upon anybody else. All of that becomes more possible because I am able to be compassionate with myself and self-advocate. If we're going to be self-compassionate and self-advocate, we have to silence the inner critic. If we're going to silence the inner critic, we have to hold space for our emotions and we have to grieve. If we're going to hold space for our emotions and grieve, we have to be intimately familiar with our emotions. And if we're going to do that, then what we have to do is we have to feel safe enough and like experience enough belongingness and enough worth and value in the world that we don't hide and keep ourselves from connecting with other humans and ourselves. That one paragraph is the recipe. Every single time I do what's in that paragraph, I don't have emotional flashbacks, I don't get stuck, I don't show up in relationships in ways that don't work, in ways that I cringe at later. I don't become dysregulated and have weird bouts of rage that are disproportionate to the scenario that I find myself in. I'm able to not only show up in my relationships and show up for myself, but I'm able to perform my job better. And I'm able to manage my finances better. I'm able to more consistently and reliably take care of little things around my apartment like dishes and Swiffering the floor and vacuuming and tidying up and just even doing laundry and going grocery shopping and just going to the market and running my errands feels more possible. When I do what that paragraph says, the whole world becomes possible. I even feel like, whoa, I have more energy to stretch and to exercise and go for walks and tidy up the garage. And maybe I'll sell a couple items on Marketplace. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reach out to that friend I haven't talked to in a while. And wow, how did I haven't been saving anything extra. Why does my bank account feel like it's actually doing okay? And wow, I have access to, I have a lot less existential dread and I feel more expansive spiritually and I don't feel so emotionally constipated and stuck in every area of my life. That one paragraph is the key to all 6 dimensions that Pete talks about: relational, behavioral, cognitive, emotional, somatic, and spiritual. That's just it right there. That's the whole book. I am convinced the entire book is succinctly put on the bottom of page 350 up to the top of page 351. And what's also true is Pete would have been remiss, and I would be remiss, if I didn't encourage every human on planet Earth to read the entire book from cover to cover. Like, seriously, this is the answer. Wow. All right, well, here we go. We are on paragraph 2, page 351. Pete says, therapists further repair arrested relationality by emotionally modeling and cognitively encouraging the development of many intuitive human relational faculties. These include empathy, mutuality, authentic vulnerability, collaborative rapport repair, and the piece de resistance of commiseration. Wow. I'm convinced that this one chapter is probably like, wow, because that paragraph right there just did it too. Wow. Next paragraph, third paragraph, page 351. We could spend an entire night doing one paragraph. That's what we could do. And it would be worth our time. Here we go. Next paragraph. Pete says, there are also other combinative, I don't know how to pronounce that word. I love you, Uncle Pete, but can you give me fewer, like, $12 words? I just want a $1 word. Can I have a $1 word? There are also other combinative interventions that repair and promote the growth of most or all of the dimensions of survivors' innate human intelligence. As noted earlier, emotional and somatic interventions can simultaneously raise both these intelligences at the same time. Moreover, interventions that are relational, like modeling intimacy-enhancing behaviors, cognitive, like psychoeducating, and emotional, such as unconditional positive regard, these often combine in restoring and evolving all 6 levels of intelligence. That right there, that's some secret sauce. It's so true. That's another paragraph that like, so I think what I love about this book the most is that Pete has written it with the presupposition that every single survivor on planet Earth comes to the table and picks up this book with unique, innate human intelligence. He talks about it over and over and over. He talks about all of the dimensions of survivors' innate human intelligence. He presupposes that we are absolutely fucking magnificent and that there's nothing wrong with us. We don't need fixing because we're not broken. We are simply traumatized, in need of support, and we carry with us innate human intelligence. And all we need is to be reminded of that innate human intelligence. It's just been distracted and covered up and smothered and beaten to a bloody pulp and ridiculously neglected for, I don't know, decades. But we need to be reminded of this. So if I have no other job on planet Earth, may my job forever from this moment forward, till death do we part, family, may my job be to remind you each and every week of your innate human intelligence as per paragraph 3, page 351 of chapter 11 of Pete Walker's book, Holistically Treating Complex PTSD, a 6-dimensional approach. Because you carry with you everything you need to heal CPTSD. Every word of this book is written with the presupposition that you carry it all inside of you. Your innate human intelligence is there. It has simply been completely and totally disregarded and had flung at it family of origin, ridiculous dysfunction, neglect, abuse, and exploitation for years and decades. And all you need is to be reminded of your innate human intelligence and to continue to have the capacity to show up for yourselves every single day in the ways that you are, just like you are when you're here. And that's why this YouTube channel exists. That's why the foundation exists, so that we can show up every single day and we can do these things together. I think I'm just overly emotional. Maybe I'm hormonal. I don't know, but everything is just landing so hard tonight. This is so rich. Does anybody else feel this? Our innate human intelligence. He says, as noted earlier, emotional and somatic interventions can simultaneously raise both of these intelligence at the same time. Interventions that are relational, like modeling intimacy-enhancing behaviors, cognitive, like psychoeducation, emotional, like unconditional positive regard. All of these often combine in restoring and evolving all 6 levels of our innate human intelligence. Oh. Okay, continuing on, middle of page 351, Pete says, here is another example of interventions that promote developmental gains in intelligences that complement and augment each other. As seen in Chapter 9, the recovery of balance in the autonomic nervous system is a key factor of developing somatic intelligence. This balance is made possible and enhanced when sufficiently developed emotional intelligence aids survivors to increasingly grieve out their anxiety and any unworked through past or present pain. This development of emotional intelligence is likewise enhanced when cognitive intelligence evolves survivors' capacities to resist and fight off the inner critic from triggering anxiety-inducing flashbacks. Moreover, as the behavioral intelligence of finding a balanced utilization of all of the 4 F's develops, the ability to decrease sympathetic nervous system hyperarousal improves. Further progress ensues with the huge leap in relational intelligence that comes from acquiring at least one truly safe and caring bond. Top of page 352. This is especially true when the bond evolves into the mutuality and commiseration of being co-regulating. Oh, God, I could just cry. This is so good. Every single word that he is saying is true, and I am reminded of every single instance that I've been able to experience all of these gains he's talking about as I'm reading this to you. It is so hopeful and life-giving. Top of page 352, when all or much of this comes together, the relief that survivors experience naturally awakens a spontaneous development of spiritual intelligence. Yes, survivors begin to find an ever-growing capacity for loving life, safe enough others, and themselves. This is true, you guys. This is true. I have experienced every single word of this. Every word that he has found to describe this. It's happening. It's happening. It has been happening for the past 4 years. Every day for 4 years, I have experienced what he is talking about in this chapter. Next chapter. In other words, all the 6D dimensions of recovered enough intelligence can combine and intertwine in ways that makes survivors feel like life is a rich, rewarding experience, well worth living. Survivors increasingly heal their psyches and their bodies via a great reduction of flashbacks. They ongoingly reduce their old habits of self-medicating their symptoms with substances and obsessive-compulsive processes. They increasingly and gracefully respond constructively to life's existential slings and arrows as they now have honed tools for efficiently managing any pain that comes their way. And this is Pete Walker speaking, I am often struck by that fact in the long work of propagating survivors' latent, multidimensional intelligence, that emotional intelligence plays a huge role in reestablishing the natural, interwoven chemistry of all the dimensions of their intelligence. Quite wonderfully, this often results in the awakening of survivors' creativity in a way that brings a richly fulfilling meaningfulness into their lives. Wow. We could stop right there, because that subsection of chapter 11, that's it. That's it right there. But I'm afraid to stop because I know he's going to be dropping some beautiful bombs here in the next couple seconds. Like, we're going to continue on page 352, but I just need you to know that that section, if you are here right now and you have been listening to the 30 minutes that have been going on in this video, you could literally re-listen to whenever I started reading, and it was after I was speaking with my team about bringing Jeffrey Sherman on as a mod and all the things. The moment I started reading that one little 20-minute section of this video, that if you listened to that every single day or read that portion of the book every single day, and you just, that's all you did, nothing else. Forget all the other things that I am currently doing in my life right now. Forget every single way that I am showing up, warmly witnessing and doing my best to heal my early attachment trauma. Forget all of the steps I'm taking in attending to my chronic loneliness. Forget the 8-year, almost 9-year relationship with my trauma therapist, Sonia, where I have established and participate in an earned, secure attachment style where we enjoy authentic communication and collaborative intimacy, and how that has bled over into every single other relationship in my life, and in the lives of those that I get to collaborate with and spend time with. Forget all of those things I'm doing, right? Because I'm already doing those. Also, behavior, that's just the first dimension. In the second dimension, we can even set aside how I have specifically focused on addressing head on every single habit that I have that I wish I didn't have, that stifles my self-expression. Every single thing I do, like I hide my authentic self. I think I have the toxic ooze, the black ooze that's gonna harm other people, and I hide and I don't connect with others because of my own toxic shame, right? Like the behaviors I have, the weird ways that I show up in relationships that don't work, and how I've attended to those, and I've owned it, and I've accepted it, and I've taken responsibility and accountability, and I have been present to repair every single rupture that I have had in a trust bond. We can even discount all that of how I'm showing up for myself, right? Or how I'm tackling my own perfectionistic behaviors and mindsets, and all of my negative noticing, and my lack of appreciation that I have for myself and my body and my mind and my gifts and my talents and everything else, and the way that I'm so self-deprecating on a daily basis, and how I'm looking at all of that, and I'm doing my best to provide compassion and care, right? I'm doing those things on a regular basis. That's the first 3 dimensions that Pete talks about. I'm doing all of those things, right? And then let's just look at the one that Pete is talking about the most here, emotional intelligence. The way that I self-alienate and I self-isolate. the way that sometimes I struggle to be self-compassionate or advocate for myself or establish and maintain healthy boundaries with safe enough others, the way that I struggle to support myself. I'm attending to those things. I'm showing up every single day in our community and elsewhere in the relationships that I enjoy in my life, day-to-day life. I'm doing those things. I'm doing those things. I'm attending to my emotional intelligence. I'm holding myself in gentle care. I'm warmly and kindly and gently attending to every younger part of myself that struggles with a harsh inner critic, right? So that's the emotional piece. Like, even if I wasn't doing all the things that I've been talking about, or the way that I go for walks, or I stretch every day, or I have somehow found a way to make sure that I'm hydrating and eating green vegetables and making sure that I get my protein and taking my daily vitamins and really just sitting with my anxiousness and the way that I lean towards anxiety on any given day, right? Like, I find ways to relax my muscle groups, soften my forehead and my jaw, my shoulders, and be with my breath for a couple of moments every day. And I'm practicing sleep hygiene. I'm going to bed at the same time every night. I'm making sure the room is dark. I'm making sure that I have everything I need as far as like climate control, right? Those are the ways I'm tending to my body. And every single morning I wake up and I deal with and that's the fifth dimension. And then on the sixth dimension, I wake up every single morning and I try to find a way to hold space for myself, even if it's just for a couple of minutes in a meditative practice, so that I don't have existential dread and dread my day, so that I can embrace everything that's coming my way. And like Pete says, that we go from hating life to experiencing life as a gift. I'm attending to those things. I'm doing all those things every day. But guess what? If I wasn't, the only reason I'm even able to do all those things that I just mentioned in the past 6 minutes, is because what he is mentioning here on page 350 all the way over to page 352, just those few paragraphs, like, I cobbled together that recipe through trial and error and through the reading of his Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving book and the Tao of Fully Feeling book and the Homesteading book and the Body Keeps the Score. And I do Peter Levine's somatic exercises, and I practice polyvagal theory and focus on my parasympathetic nervous system and try to focus on glimmers. And I'm doing all of these multidimensional things and multidisciplinary things, right? But if I wasn't able to, if all I was able to do is read page 350 to 352 every single day just to give me a little bit of hope, I'm convinced that that would be enough. Because if I had had this recipe that gave me hope, I probably wouldn't have devolved and self-sabotaged my way through decades. And the last 4 years of my life wouldn't have been so, transformational, yes, but also it's like a daily iteration. Like there's this pivot that needs to happen, and there's this pause that needs to happen, and I have to glance at where I'm at and do all the things that he's talking about in this one little section. Wow. You all, this is hope here. This is hope. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the next subsection titled Another Picture of the Journey of Recovering. And that's going to take us bottom of page 352 all the way to the bottom of page 353. And then next week, we will begin at the top of page 354. So here we go, bottom of page 352, in a subtitle, a subsection titled Another Picture of the Journey of Recovering. Pete says, here is a sketch of another scenario whereby therapists help survivors progress in their recovery. This rendering can also serve as a gauge for evaluating survivors' gains and remaining developmental tasks. Helping survivors to healthily manage their emotional flashbacks is crucial. Without this help, they can remain stuck indefinitely in 6 layers of defensive, dissociative reactions to the cruelest wound of childhood trauma, the abandonment melange. More specifically, this leaves them stuck in social and self-alienation, stuck in a confining 4F response, stuck with a self-contemptuous, malignant inner critic, stuck in anxiety, toxic shame, and depression, stuck in sympathetic nervous system hyperarousal, stuck in a recurring feeling that life is not worth living. And until these intense overreactions to the excruciating fear, shame, and hopelessness of the abandonment melange are progressively mollified, survivors are impeded in rebooting arrested, relational, behavioral, cognitive, emotional, somatic, and spiritual development. As elaborated throughout this book, therapists can guide survivors to self-compassionately soothe themselves and self-protectively rescue themselves when they are trapped in the abandonment melange of an emotional flashback. Every flashback is an opportunity for a therapist and client to work together to help the survivor bring compassion to places in themselves that have never been treated kindly. And in so doing, therapists help them reduce and dissolve the intense overwhelm and defensive pain exacerbating reactions that they suffer in flashbacks. These old 6D defenses, which were somewhat helpful survival adaptations to being traumatized children, they no longer have value. The more effective therapists are at aiding survivors to do this, the more efficient recoveries become at identifying and deconstructing all 6 levels of their unhealthy survival habits. I deeply hope, and this is Pete Walker speaking, he says, I deeply hope that therapists and other helpers increasingly find in this book a psychological first aid kit for helping survivors to recover from the abominable fate of being born to traumatizing families that subjected them to the abuse and or neglect that left them stranded in developmental trauma disorder and CPTSD. Wow. And that's a wrap. That's where we're ending tonight. Wow. Wow. You guys, I'm not sure if you have found all of these, the parsing apart of everything that Pete has mentioned tonight. I'm not sure if you have found it as helpful and supportive as I have. Part of me doubts that, because I feel right now in this moment at 7:44 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, October 6, 2025, I feel more seen, heard, validated, understood, and known, deeply known, than I have probably ever felt in my life. I have been working so hard for so long, and every single thing that we do in healing CPTSD, it's like the onion, right? Oh no, it's another layer and another layer and another layer and another layer. And when is it going to not be any more layers? It's like this low level hum of existential dread because you feel as though it's never ending. And that in and of itself is what leads most survivors to just casually fantasizing about, like, well, what if I just didn't, maybe wake up tomorrow? That wouldn't be that bad because I'm freaking exhausted, right? So this portion of the book is giving me language to spell out my daily existence for not only the past 4 years of showing up for myself every single day and providing warmth and compassion and kindness and advocacy for myself, because parts of me never, ever, ever, never, ever, 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 ever had that. But he has laid out in very plain terms the last 4 decades of my life and how painful they have been. He has validated every millisecond of 4 decades of my life, maybe even closer to 5, because I'm going to be 52. And my trauma began, at birth. So, but I don't really have a lot of really early memories of struggling really, 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 really bad. I have blips on the radar from like super early on, like maybe age 2 or 3. I have several really, really, really rough, bad, really bad memories from age 4, 5, and 6. And then the real hell begins from age 7 on. So I don't know how Pete has done it, but he has found language to simultaneously validate every moment of pain that I've ever felt and assured me that I'm on the right path and that I'm doing it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel a million more times, Athena. You're already doing it. You're already doing it. Look, here's the proof. I just laid out in very plain terms how to address all 6 dimensions and what it looks like and what it feels like when you have done so. And look at that. You felt it. You see it. You feel it. You're doing it. Even if you don't have one more aha moment for the rest of your life, Athena, you're doing it. Let's say you don't gain altitude or climb any more mountains or figure out more big light bulb moments. That's okay. You just read in less than a handful of pages the recipe that lays out everything that you've been doing daily. And that's the way. That's enough. You're doing enough. You're doing it. You're already doing it. There's no more to figure out. Although, as we continue to show up for ourselves in the ways that we do, we start to get excited about figuring things out because then we have capacity, right? Wow. Who knew? Who knew that tonight was going to be like the night that it was all just going to come together? Wow. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing right now. What this has done, it has solidified and encouraged me to not give up, to continue doing the little things and the big things every single day. Because the more I do them, the more free I feel. I don't struggle. I don't feel like I'm in constant, continual pain that's unrelenting. It's just wild. The whole thing is wild. Like, who knew? Wow. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Uncle Pete. Now you know why you're in our fantasy family. He might hear this. Who knows? He mentions us in this book. He mentions the organization that I started, the Foundation for Post-Traumatic Healing and Complex Trauma Research. He mentions CPTSDfoundation.org in this book. And that alone brought me to tears while I was here with you. I think it was about, gosh, was that 5 months ago now? I think it was 3 months ago. No, it was more. It was 4 months ago, maybe. Yeah. So 4 months ago, we were sitting here together and we were reading and we were starting to discuss this book. And I realized that he had listed us as a resource. And now I'm reading this language of what it is that actually, it's like the recipe, right? It's the roadmap. I just feel so encouraged. I feel so bolstered by each and every one of you. This community is life-changing and life-saving. I truly just, I can't even believe this right now. So thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So let's just confirm where we're going to start, what page we're going to start on next week. We are going to start at the top of page 354 next week. If anyone wants to make a note of that, Kitty or Karen or anyone, that's where we'll start next week. And just truly, every single one of you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Hello, Kate. I didn't get a chance to say hi to you earlier. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Jennifer. Oh, no, you all are my heroes. Are you kidding me? I show up here every single week because the last thing in the whole wide world I would want is for you all to be here and me not be here. I wouldn't want to let you down. I wouldn't want to disappoint you like that. Hello to anyone else I didn't greet by name. I think I said hello to each and every one of you. I think I had only missed Kate and Jennifer. Did I miss anyone? I think I got you all. Oh, is it a full moon? Oh, it's a super moon. Very cool. Very cool. Wow. I'm so glad you made it here tonight as well, AJ. So glad you were here with us. Yes, Mary, I also remember derealizing at a very young age. And now I have a language for it, right? Wow. Yeah. This could be my favorite recording that we've ever done together. Wow. Mary says, CPTSD Foundation, I'm so grateful that I found you and this YouTube channel. It was just Googling. I'm so grateful you found us as well, Mary. Hello, Joe. I'm so glad you were here. Hello, hello. Thank you, Karen, for getting the page number. I think it's 354. I put the book away. But truly, truly, I think tonight might be my favorite. I think this is my favorite. It's all coming together. It all just sort of like converged. It all just like gelled tonight. I have so much hope. I no longer feel like I'm terrified of what's around the corner, around the bend, up over the next mountain, because Pete has been healing his own trauma for decades, and he literally just laid out in less than a handful of pages every single thing that we've already been doing. Wow. It's incredible. So if I get a chance to see you all over in our community, I'll put a link in the chat box. I will see you there. And if I don't see you there, that's okay, because I'll be here next Monday and every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And in the meantime, until I see you again, please be extra kind and patient and gentle with yourselves. As Jeffrey would say, because you're worth it. And Ninja Taco, you were missed. John Harvey, thank you so much for being here. And Jeffrey Sherman, thank you for offering to post crisis resources for every single person in our community. Yeah, so grateful for you all. Good night, everyone.